So for most of us in our lives, if we really think about it and we take the time to reflect and analyze our experiences and our past, you can probably notice that you'll find there's key moments in your life that contributed to who you are today as an individual. Thanks to Christian for recommending this video topic. I took an opportunity this week to really reflect on my past and the experiences I've went through and who I am today, and tried to pinpoint 5 periods in my life through experiences, people I've met, or just memories or moments that contributed to who I am as Adrian Logan today. I'm gonna share those with you, but I also want to encourage you to think about this for yourself. Think about through your life, what are some pivotal moments that led to you being the person you are today? Maybe that involves asking some of your friends what your key traits are, what's the most memorable about you. And then ask yourself, what moment in time, what led to you being that person that you are today? A little bit of self-awareness, a little bit of self-therapy maybe, and just putting us further along on our own individual self-discovery journeys. So I'm gonna share that with you today. I'm gonna refer to my phone just to go over key points because I'm still kind of reflecting on this even today. But the first thing that has helped me become who I am today is getting into religion at a point in my life. When I was about 17 or 18 years old, from 18 to about 25, I spent a 6 or 7 year period really delving deep into religion. And I don't want to get into all the details of what and the specific labels and religious structures, but I want to share with you what I learned through that experience in my life with religion and being involved with it so deeply. And the first thing is that it introduced me to spirituality. Back when I was a structured religious person and not just a more spiritual person, it gave me an opportunity to delve deep into understanding or more reflecting on the universe, reflecting on my beliefs that are core to me. I'm not talking about the religious beliefs that you might have been raised within your family or your culture or traditions, but your own personal thoughts about the universe, thoughts about the way we should behave, our values. Now for me, that was a big moment because I didn't grow up with religion. I didn't have any spiritual input from family really growing up. For me, I was a blank canvas. And so it gave me the opportunity to really ask myself the bigger questions. Along with that, it allowed me to, in my particular journey, it taught me to question why we're doing things. That includes things like holidays, things like the way we eat, the ingredients we have in our food. At a point in time, we were taught to understand everything that went in our food. So when I was looking at buying something, I always read the ingredients on the back. If there's 20 ingredients in that package, first and foremost, it kind of deterred me from eating it in the first place. But regardless of how many ingredients there were, I knew what each ingredient was, how it was manufactured, where it came from. There's a point in time, castor oil was made from scraping the oils from the genitals of, I think muskrats it was. And things you don't realize. So it taught me to question government, question religion, ironically, question the traditions that we have and asking, does it serve a greater purpose? And it allowed me to dive deep. At that time, I read the Bible front to back multiple times. And so it gave me access to certain levels of wisdom that I usually didn't encounter. The book of Psalms was incredibly insightful for me. And it just allowed me to think with a broader perspective. It allowed me to not look at the world the way it is, but how I want it to be, to understand how it was, understand what led to where we are today. It allowed me to gain a deeper understanding of history. It taught me the difference between personality and character. Personality is what can maybe start relationships, but your character, your values, your honesty, your integrity, your character forms deeper relationships. And all these things, this accumulated and gave me a great experience, even though I don't subscribe to that belief system anymore. Another experience that was greatly valuable to me in forming who I am today was going on my first solo backpacking trip in another country. When I was around 24 or 25, I had started making some money online, and there's just a call in me, a pull in me to leave the country, to experience the world in another form. And so I booked a ticket to Costa Rica for 3 weeks by myself, just a solo backpacking trip. Everything I owned for that trip was on my back. And I toured around Costa Rica. That was my first experience getting uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. Putting myself in a situation where I don't know what to expect. I don't know who I'm gonna encounter, what tests and trials I'm gonna be put through. I didn't know Spanish, so I spent 2 months prior just learning the basics of Spanish, what I could, just to say, where's the bathroom, where can I get some food, I need help, simple things like that. Doing that, it allowed me to create a vision for my future that I'm certain I wouldn't have otherwise discovered so early on. Because it allowed me to meet people that were making a living abroad. People from Germany that had been living in Costa Rica for 5 years because they were able to develop a little online business. Or people that were retired and they realized they could live for half the price in Costa Rica that they could have lived in their country. And since then, it led me to go on backpacking trips alone to Thailand, to Nicaragua. Me and my partner have taken backpacking trips through Jamaica, to Cuba. And the vision I have now for my future was a direct result of that experience. Because now I want to spend 8 to 12 months in different countries and live abroad and not settle for a mediocre lifestyle. That experience, it broadened my vision for what's possible through the people I met and showed me the value of getting uncomfortable. And that led to me doing things like skydiving, getting my scuba diving license. It allowed me to realize that you shouldn't fear discomfort, but embrace it, because that's where the spices of life come from. Going out of your comfort zone, pursuing the uncertain, and allowing myself to not have to feel like I'm in control of every situation. To go into situations where I'm completely out of my control. And sometimes it's led to some dangerous circumstances or absurd circumstances or scary circumstances, but it was all worth it. And I very much appreciate that. And that's a huge part of what has led me to become the Adrian that I understand and know today. Now, growing up, I grew up in a very typical single parent, 3 children, low income family home. The first 8 years of my life, I was living in government housing. As you may have seen in a previous video, I'll link it up here, I moved every 2 years on average. I went to many different schools, lived in many different houses, but the reason I mention that to you is because that experience, growing up in a lower income family, it taught me the value of money at an early age. It prevented me from getting caught up into a materialistic consumerism type of world, where my happiness wasn't derived from the possessions I had or what I could get. I wasn't focused on just trying to obtain, but I instead developed somewhat of an essentialist, minimalist focus and view of the world before I even knew that was a philosophy. And then as I've aged, I've embraced that. I didn't shy away from that. When I became an adult and I started making money, I didn't go pursue getting the nice cars and living in the nicest places, because I'm not like that. I've never had a great car. I've never lived in a fancy place, because I realized that doesn't make me happy. That won't make me happy. And it didn't have to be an experience that I had to get over, because it's something that already, it was embedded within me. And most people, if they had the choice, they wouldn't grow up low income. But for me, living in what was called government housing, every time I went outside, there was 15 kids to play with of all nationalities. White, black, Spanish, Asian, Indian, everything. And so it gave me an experience that most people I went to school with never got. Because most people that are living in suburban or rural communities, they only have access to one culture, especially when I was growing up when internet wasn't so prominent. Damn, I'm old. They didn't have access to different cultures, different languages, different belief systems. For a lot of people, it was just them and their siblings to play with. For me, it was a whole community. And I loved it. Let me just refer to my notes here. And as an adult here, I try to live a minimalist lifestyle. And what does that mean? That just means that I'm intentional about what I put value on. I'm intentional about what I buy. I don't purchase something simply because it'll make my life more convenient. I purchase something because I see that it will contribute directly to improving my lifestyle in a noticeable way that otherwise wasn't being met. So when I buy something, I'm asking myself, do I really need this? Is it just a slight convenience, or is it actually going to improve my happiness? Is it something that I'm going to value for a long time? Will it endure? And that's something I'm carrying forward, especially in this day and age where cost of living is going up, real estate, housing costs are going up, tuition is going up, a day and age where opportunity and having the finances to act on opportunity is one of the things, for me at least, that has brought me peace of mind. Because I don't focus on having the nicest place and the nicest cars and the nicest things, I was able to form somewhat of a nest egg, a savings that I could act on and put towards an opportunity I found. And for me, that was when I got introduced to the crypto world. And I wouldn't have had that money to invest into something I believe in, that I believe will bring a lot of value to me in the future, if I didn't have a deeper understanding of money and the value of money growing up, and understanding that money isn't everything. So that formed who I am today, because now I'm not focused on being a millionaire and having the big houses. I'm focused on living a life that I'm happy and fulfilled by. Living in countries, hopefully, in the near, not so distant future, that don't have a high cost of living, that don't require you to have a nice car to feel like you're part of the culture, and live very minimally but happy. Don't get me wrong, I love money. I want to make more. I intend to make more, but it's not my priority, and that had a lot to do with the way I was raised, and who I am today. This next experience, it took me a while to realize it, but it did play a huge role in who I am today. And it was when I was 12 years old. I was moving a lot, going to a lot of different schools, and when I went to this specific school, I was the new kid in class. Recess had just started, and as soon as I walked out of the class, there was two people. This one person in particular, my friend Antonio, and he didn't know me, but he saw that I was new to the school, and he just met me at the door and said, like, "Come with me, come with us." And he took it upon himself to introduce himself to me when he didn't have to, and that set my life on a whole new path, because meeting him, we were two young children, but we had what I like to consider very mature views of the world. And meeting him allowed me to, for the first time in my life, to meet someone that understood me, that was very close to the way I was in my views and in my with my quirks and my uniqueness, the way I thought, my belief systems, my opinions. And meeting him, what was valuable to me was the fact that it allowed me to realize that I'm not weird. I'm not at that time like crazy for the way that I thought. And it was just a mutual connection that allowed me to maintain the natural path that I was on. Because I think a lot of people, they're unique. As children, we're unique. We have these incredible perspectives of the world, and we allow society to dim that light, to change our perspectives, to conform to pre-established norms. And meeting him allowed us to bounce ideas and thoughts off of each other, and allowed us to be comfortable in our own skin. And that's the biggest thing. It allowed me to be comfortable in my own skin so that I could continue my life maintaining my individuality, not trying to be like other people. We reinforce each other's understanding that it's okay to be a little weird, a little abnormal, to think a little differently, to have likes and interests that are different than other people. And even though as today, as a 31-year-old, we only talk once or twice a year just because our lives have went on different paths and we moved to different places. When we do reconnect, it's all love. We jump right back to where we last got off. And this is one of those things where you meet some people and it's not always what they add to your life, but what they help you to maintain within your life. And in a society where you're constantly being asked to change and adjust and adapt, to conform, and to lose your individuality, meeting him and having him in my life was an experience that allowed me to maintain my individuality and has helped me to maintain who I am today. And the fifth experience that might not seem so incredible, but in hindsight, it made a big impact into my life, was when I was about, I want to say 17 or 18, and I got my first laptop. And the reason that was special is because for the first time in my life, it gave me access 24/7 to information. It's like a buffet of information. Growing up, I asked a lot of questions. I was innately curious. So to have at my fingertips the ability to listen to biographies of individuals and understand history, to ask questions and get an answer, to have an interest to learn something and be able to go and study it. when I was going on that first backpacking trip, I knew I wanted to learn Spanish. I needed to learn Spanish. And allowed me to find a course, to study it, to be able to download these audios, to listen to watch flashcards, listen to videos, and just improve. And for a long period of time, it wasn't so easy. And I think we take it for granted in this day and age where we have cell phones, not just laptops, but cell phones and Wi-Fi and internet connections everywhere we go. We take it for granted just how amazing that is. And it allowed me to just completely explore my curiosity in a way that allowed me to, referring to the previous point, maintain my individuality, explore my curiosity and learn things that I wasn't able to learn previous to that. Because previous to the internet, previous to having access to the internet on your phones, my source of information was my mom. My source of information was people in my neighborhood. My source of information was my teachers. And it was great, but it's limited. Your teachers are limited. Your parents are limited. Because they only know based off of their life experience. So when you have access to the internet, you have access to the opinions and the knowledge base of all the greatest minds in the universe, of Earth, now and in the past. And to this day, I spend hours watching videos, doing Google searches, exploring Reddit to understand the experiences and the information and the opinions of people all over the world. And it helps give me greater and broader understanding of what's around me. And these 5 things, they didn't seem obvious to me right away. I encourage you to try this. To explore, ask yourself, what are 5 moments in time or people or experiences or memories that have led to you being who you are today? And at first, you might think, oh, it was going to college. Oh, it was meeting my spouse. That may be true. But if you dig deeper, you might pinpoint exact moments where your life took a turn, or exact moments where it kept you on the path that you otherwise would have got off of if it wasn't for that key moment or experience. So it was a pleasure for me to kind of sit down for a couple hours this week and explore this and really ask myself, what was it that led me to being who I am? What made me me? And I encourage you to do the same. Christian, I appreciate you suggesting this. When I asked for topics for possible videos, you gave me a list, and this is a fun one to explore. So I encourage you to do the same. If you got this far, I appreciate you watching this video. I'll link a video right here that I think you might enjoy if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.